बैक टू माय चैनल कहीं दूर बाय मेघा कपूर। और इस सीरीज में मैं आपके साथ मेरा एवरेस्ट बेस कैंप और एवरेस्ट हाई पासिस ट्रैक का एक्सपीरियंस शेयर करने वाली हूँ। Hi, my name is Megha Kapoor and I am here to share my story of Everest High Passes Trek with all of you. I am 37 years old with family at home, 9 to 5 job and with dreams of traveling the world. And when I say world, I mean the real world, not the concrete jungle as we know. I planned EBC back in 2020 when I was at peak of my fitness level. But then COVID happened and it changed a lot of things. I was 65 kilos back then and today I am 89 kilos. So it was very hard and very challenging for me to even plan something like Everest Base Camp. And when it comes to fitness, it's just walking and yoga that come to my aid. And I was advised to walk 8 kilometers every day for six weeks, which I did. But trust me, when you are up there, any level of fitness or any level of preparation is less. So when I was in process of booking the EBC, I got to know about Everest High Passes Trek. And I thought that this is something that I would probably do once in this lifetime. So why settle for EBC? Why don't I try for Everest High Passes Trek? Everest High Passes Trek is a 18-day long trek where one has to pass or hike 3 high mountain passes in the Khumbu Region: Renjo La Pass, Cho La Pass and Kongma La Pass. In this 18-day long trek, I will be covering Renjo La, Cho La, Kongma La along with EBC and Kala Pathar. So most hikers do these passes in an anti-clockwise direction because it's easier that way. The inclination is less, but that's not what I wanted to do, because think of a temple or a gurudwara or even a masjid. We all do parikrama in a clockwise fashion, and nature is very sacred to me, and these mountains are no less than a temple to me. So I wanted to do it in a clockwise direction, even that means that it's going to be more challenging. I was okay with that. I was not sure whether I could do it or not. In fact, I stopped thinking about that because one thing I was absolutely sure about was giving my entire heart and soul to this trek. So I took a flight from Delhi to Kathmandu. It was a short flight and Indians do not require a visa to enter Nepal. I checked into the hotel, which was situated in the heart of the city, and then I met another hiker, Raghav, who would accompany me on this trek later. We were short on some trekking gears, so we had to do some last minute shopping. I picked up sleeping bags, a pair of gaiters, micro spikes and few other medicines. So after our shopping was done, I told Raghav that let's visit Pashupatinath temple and get blessings of Bholenath before we commence our trek. And when we returned from Pashupatinath temple, I learned that we had to leave for Ramechhap airport at 12 in the midnight because all flights to Lukla operates from Ramechhap airport and not from the Kathmandu airport. It took us around 4 hours to reach Ramechhap airport, and there we were all ready to face the biggest fear of this trek, a flight to Lukla. Lukla is the most dangerous airport in the world because of its geography and its shortest runway. And when I say shortest, it's hardly 500 meters. And there is no radar, no air navigation, and one has to rely solely on pilot expertise to land and take off. But I was worried about that. How are we going to land at Lukla? And I had heard so many stories about Lukla where flights just bumped into each other and crashed into each other. So I had mixed feelings. I was super excited to begin this trek and at the same time super nervous because of this flight to Lukla. So finally we landed safely. And guess what, people? There was another fear awaiting me. As soon as I landed, my periods began. I was getting jitters thinking that how I'm going to do this trek. I had never exerted myself during my cycles ever before, and I was worried. I was extremely worried that how things will go. I was not sure what will happen next. We had breakfast at Lukla, we met our team, and after a quick briefing session, we finally commenced our trek. And on the way, I met these cute little kids. And they were so cute. They actually made me happy, and they helped me change my mood a little bit. In the beginning itself, there was a quick permit check, and after showing our permits or getting the permits, because our guide Shambhu only managed all that, we started to descend. And I was completely surprised with that because I was preparing my mind for a uphill trek, but it started with a descent. Honestly, I find going uphill easier than going downhill because when you move downhill, it puts a lot of pressure on the knees. I was slow, super slow, but the trail kept me going. There were beautiful flowers throughout the trail, especially the rhododendrons, also called as the Himalayan roses. And those were just beautiful. And it was not just like you see only red shade. There were shades of reds and pinks throughout the trail, and it was just beautiful. There were prayer wheels, prayer flags, and even prayers written on stones. lot of patches of green vegetation, small farms. The entire trail was extremely mesmerizing and just kept me going. We crossed the first suspension bridge on this day, and I had seen that in movies earlier, so I knew that there will be bridges, but I was not aware on my first trek to Fakting from Lukla, we'll experience the first suspension bridge. It came too early for me in the trek. And after some time, the trail was all up and down, but we were walking in the nature that was so beautiful. So in Nepali, this is called Nepali flat, which is in no way flat at all. It is always going little up, little down, little up, little down.
मैं और मेरा साथी स्पर्शा
But that little was actually too much for me on day one of my periods. After 4 hours of walk, we finally reached our first destination, Fakting.
That's where we are heading to.
It was at a distance of 9 kilometers from Lukla, and the room allocated to me was just basic with a shared toilet. And I started keeping an eye on my blood oxygen levels because it's really critical. We just started gaining elevation. And I was so happy when I ordered my first dal bhat. I thoroughly enjoyed dal bhat as a meal.
ये अचार है मैम, पिकल्स, ये प्लेन राइस, ये दाल, ये पापड़, ये आलू गोभी, ये सलाद, ये साग, ये रोटी।
वाओ।
मेरा नाम शंभू राय है। मैं ये खुम्बू रीजन का गाइड हूँ। मैंने अभी तक बहुत बार ट्रेकिंग ये 3 पास कर लिया, पर एक साथ में नहीं किया अभी तक। फर्स्ट टाइम मेरा एक डाउट हुआ कि इधर से लुकला टू फागदिंग को हमको 3 आवर का रास्ता था, पर मैम ने 4 to 5 आवर का ड्यूरेशन लिया। उस टाइम मेरे को बहुत डाउट हुआ मैं।
So good morning. Today is day 3 of the trip. आज I'll start from Fakting to Namche, and the hike will be almost 7-8 hours. The distance is 12 kilometers.
Fakting to Namche was not at all easy. In fact, this was the day when I felt that trek has finally begun. The initial patch was okay, but then it changed to steep inclines, and I really don't remember how many stairs I climbed that day. The sun was shining so bright, it was extremely hot. I was sweating, but then I kept trekking and trekking and trekking. The trail again kept me going. It was full of flowers. The sound of Dudh Khosi river was very soothing. crossed 4 hanging bridges on this day.
Today is second day of my period and I'm surprised कि मैं अभी भी चल रही हूँ. So I slowly, steady, step by step, but I'm still hiking.
And then suddenly weather changed and it started to rain. The weather is so unpredictable up in the mountains. Anything can happen after 1200. And there we were at Namche. Namche is a beautiful Himalayan town in the middle of nature. And by the time we reached Namche, I was dead tired. I was literally dragging myself. I was dragging my feet. And towards the end, I knew that I could see that it's just hardly 500 meters. But I had no strength to walk. And my guide kept me telling, "Ma'am, bas thoda sa aur, ma'am, bas aa gaye, ma'am, bas pahunch gaye." And I was like, "Bhai, aur kitna?" I mean, I literally dragged myself. It was super tough to do those 12 kilometers from Phakting to Namche on second day of my period. It was quite something. I took 8 hours to complete those 12 kilometers and we gained more than 1000 meter elevation in a single day. And that, my friends, was just the beginning. And I was thinking, Megha, what have you signed up for? I now knew that it's not going to be easy at all. So both the days I was very slow because I promised myself that I will listen to my body and will go slow. But this had repercussions. My guide Shambhu, he lost confidence in me and he suggested to change the itinerary.
सेकेंड डे हमारा कैंप नामचे का था. फागडिंग टू नामचे हमारा 6 to 7 आवर का रास्ता था, पर मैम ने 8 to 9 आवर ले लिया. उस टाइम भी मेरा नाइट पे मैम के साथ एक बात हुई. मैंने बोला कि 3 पास के बदले हम EBC करते हैं, EBC को प्रायोरिटी देता है.
So he suggested to do Everest Base Camp first, and then if my body permits, then we should go for high passes, 3 high passes. So for me it was like my 18-day long trek became just 11-day trek because he completely removed 3 passes. So no Renjo La, no Cho La, no Kongma La,
पर मैम ने बोला नहीं, मेरे को पासेस चाहिए, मेरे को पासेस इम्पोर्टेंट है।
And thinking from his perspective, I think he was very concerned about my health and he wanted me to at least complete something rather than going back without even doing Everest Base Camp. He mentioned that he never had a client who had completed all 3 passes in one trek. And he kept sharing stories with me how people ended up with multiple health issues and had to be evacuated via helicopters. So he was completely unsure if I could make it through any of the passes. And knowing this, I felt deeply dejected